Hola, and welcome to the I Am Her Empowerment and Impact Summit for Career Women. Thank you for joining me today. I have the awesome Miss Devay Cambell with us. How are you, ma'am?
I am doing well, thank you. Hope you are.
Yes, ma'am. Allow me to introduce you to this wonderful woman. She is an international career coach, author, and certified human resources professional with over 13 years in leadership and 9 years in human resources. She spent the last 11 years supporting, training, and coaching professionals. Devay's career advice has been featured in Essence Magazine, The Huffington Post, Society of Human Resources, Business Insider, Glassdoor, and many more. Devay is the go-to person for women looking to accelerate their careers and monetize their knowledge. Hello, Miss Lady.
Hello.
Today we will be talking about how to build your personal and professional network to advance your career. A very important topic we both agree on.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So why is it important for women to grow their network?
I think it's important because, you heard the cliche, no man is an island. It's true that your network really does have an impact on your net worth. And, it's just really, the time has really come now where women are more supportive and pushing each other along. And the more sisters and even brothers and friends you have in your corner, just the better off you will be in the long run.
Right. And you said the time where women are doing this. Do you really feel that women are doing this more now than they used to? Because we have this thing where I believe we were just raised to compete versus support. And there are those that are comfortable in who they are and how they are, and they don't mind supporting. But for the majority, it seemed like it was always this competition. And then people are just like, why? There is no competition. There doesn't need to be.
I do. I have seen a shift. I know that it's probably not where it should be, but it's definitely not where it used to be. I have other people, even in my same industries, even in my same profession, with things like LinkedIn, reaching out saying, hey, how can I support you? Or can you give me advice on this? And I think it's just more, just more. There are still going to be people in that way. Let's just get that clear. But I think now that it's more our counterparts, I just put it like that, with our counterparts, we're learning what they've known the entire time. And so after seeing people get so far ahead of you, I think certain people, smart women, are taking a look and saying, what do they have that I don't? And they realize that it is the collaboration and the networks, just to be honest.
Right, the networks. What are some things women can do to build a network?
I think that is very, just realizing what you need. And it's very important that when you're building a network that you also look within yourself. When I just said, hey, what can I do for you? That you sit and see, what things can I share? Where can I be of help and value to someone else? And then just identifying what you need in return and being strategic about that. With some of the groups like LinkedIn, LinkedIn has groups, even Facebook has groups. Meet up when you want to get offline, because it's important that you go offline too, and just really tapping into those sources and making yourself available and being present to help, to give and to receive.
Okay. So making sure you understand the value that you can bring to someone, just not the value you're shopping for.
Exactly.
This is my strong area and I can help support someone in that area is a good thing to know, because you'll know, oh, well, they can help me with this, but I can offer them with this. If you don't know, it's kind of like a one-way relationship that none of us like to be in. And,
Exactly. And I think that's the way networking was thought of in the beginning. Like, you go out and you push your business cards in everybody's hand and you wait on the next big client, the next big opportunity. But it's not like that. It is very much a two-sided relationship in order for it to be effective.
Right. Okay. So in networking, a common mistake that I've seen is where people just go around handing out a business card. And I've had somebody do that before, and I'm like, why do I need your card? Just for me to have your card, it's going to go in the trash. That's not a wise investment on their part. But to know to have a conversation because you want to build a relationship with the person.
Exactly.
For you to say, I want to keep this card, or hey, can I have your card? Because I don't think that you should lead with your business card. That's not how you normally meet people, right? So why would I just start off with, hey, here's my card, and this is what I like. Don't shove what you do down my throat. You know, I know you can be the regional for this or the head of that, but it's not how you meet people.
Exactly.
So
it is
what
unnatural.
networking mistakes do you find?
One, not going and networking at all. And I think number two is really not having a plan about the networking. The same way you don't want to just shove business cards into your hand. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. So if I walk into this room and I know that I want to meet 2 people, I don't care that it's 200. I'm on my mission to connect with that 2. Maybe it's 2 people I want to collaborate with. Maybe I want an event. Maybe I am looking for a job opportunity. I'm going to worry about the quality versus the quantity. So being strategic. And I think the third thing is just not understanding the whole process of networking. And some people find themselves just socializing, but calling it networking. Like, oh, I just went to this party. It was a networking event, and we laughed and we talked and said, what did you accomplish? I gave away some business cards. So that part of it, I think, is just, understanding how to do it and do it effectively. And I don't think it's really taught how to do it. So I'm glad you're having an opportunity for people to learn here.
That's a very good point. I have seen people just pretend like it's a party on the other end of the other person just shoving the card in the hand. So I like the fact that you said go with a purpose and a focus to like, I'm going to build 2 good relationships so that I can have a contact, because that's what networking is and is about, versus just standing there and chit-chatting with no purpose. Right. And it's not that you're going in with a deceitful mindset. You're going in to actually build a relationship, and it has to have some personal weight to it. Otherwise, they feel like they don't know you. It's still just, oh, I don't know who she is or what she was or what she did. So I don't even know if we want to build a relationship.
Right. Exactly.
So do you have anything that you can share with us about how to effectively network, or
Yes, I think whenever I'm looking for a particular event, I look to see, if you're on Meetup, I'll just give you that for instance. So if there's any way you can see the guest list or the who's going, then look up some of those people before you get there so that you will know what a quality conversation is and who actually you can help and who can help you and the relationship that you want to build. So I would do that. I also would network with my peers, so have different levels. So I would network with my peers. I would also network with the people that are in places where I want to be. And so, and then like interest, don't, if you're a person that likes sewing, don't discount groups and meetups about sewing and people with like interest, because so much comes out of that. And what Kourtney was saying is true. Once people realize that they can build a relationship with you, most relationships build off a common interest. So just understanding, hey, I know that this is like fun time for me. And even though it's not necessarily fun, but you're still going to have that networking thing, you just build in those relationships because they know people that you don't know. And then also networking with peers. Like Kourtney said, do not go shoving your business cards. I'm going to tell you, don't even take business cards, and don't always lead with what you do. Like some people just get their elevator pitch all polished up, and then they just go in and everybody they meet, it's like, hi, I'm Devay Cambell, I'm a career coach. Like it seems inauthentic to do that. So just talking about, really people like to talk about themselves. So if you go in and just say, hey, how are you? How was your day? And then just kind of asking more questions about them. People are naturally going to ask, well, what about you? And then that's your time to go ahead and shine, but don't lead with that all the time, because people hate to see you coming. It's like, oh God, here she comes. She's trying to sell me something, or she's trying to ask for something, and then they'll start avoiding you. So those are just a few things. And when people leave, they remember you a little bit better when you spend some time with them. So allow yourself enough time to spend time and build that relationship, even if you just sat and talked to one person. that's fine. That one person's going to remember you.
That's true. It's interesting that you say people will remember you. When I introduce myself, because people always say, oh, you're Kourtney, you're not a boy. And I'm like, no, I'm not a boy. Or, oh, your name starts with a K. So I actually introduce myself and say, hi, I'm Kourtney with a K. And they say, oh, with a K? So when they see me again, they're like, hi, Kourtney with a K. And I'm like,
exactly. That's something just so personable and memorable. I was networking with in a group, and I was supposed to do mock interviews, and I remember the girl said, if something comes up, remember me, the girl in the purple dress. And here it is, maybe 10 years later, and I end up mentoring her, and we just have a great relationship, and I always call her the girl with the purple dress. But that's what I remember, because as soon as I got back to my office, my supervisor said, we need help revamping this employee handbook, and it's going to be a lot for you and I. So do you know someone with some HR skills? And I said, the girl with the purple dress. It's just memorable. So yeah, remembering, having something, that little special spark that's not an elevator pitch, but saying like Kourtney with the K is going to be memorable. Because at the end of the event, if people walk away and they're like, I can't remember who this person is, what do you look like calling their phone? Like, hey, remember me from the event? And they're like, no. Or hitting them in the email, no, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. Can you refresh my memory? So I like that. That's cute.
That's true. That's true. What are the key people you need in your corner? Because I know we're talking about building a network. What type of people do I need in my network?
Okay. I would say you need someone who's going to really, you just need that cheerleader, that encourager, that person that just kind of can push you along, like, come on, Kourtney, I know you can do it. Or, that was awesome, keep going. You need that person, but you don't want it all those. You need some people that's going to be firm with you too. So in addition to that, you'll need a mentor. And your mentor is somebody who, it could be a combination of supporter, but they're really firm with you. And then they're maybe a couple steps or levels ahead of you, or exactly where you want to be in your career or business. And then you definitely need a sponsor. So a sponsor is someone that they have influence, and they could mention you when opportunities come up. They're in rooms that you're not in. And so your sponsor would say, we're really looking for someone to replace Rebecca. Rebecca is leaving in March, and nobody might not even know she's leaving at this point. This is a room full of people who are on the inside. And then they say, we'll be looking for a replacement soon. And then your sponsor says, what about Kourtney? She's ready. And then everybody else is like, huh. And they trust the sponsor. So they would definitely look into you and look into that possibility. And so you're not in the room, but your sponsor's in the room, and you're in the room without knowing it.
An extension of you. That is awesome.
Right.
So you need your cheerleader. You need somebody who can support you, somebody who can advocate for you. And I'll just say somebody to kick your butt.
Right. Right, exactly. And they could necessarily be the same person, but while you're building your network, just keep in mind that in your networking, you kind of want to spread out the responsibilities, and it gives you different layers of accountability and support as well. So you can have them, and that could all be one person. But if you're smart, you want to try to get different people. Because that cheerleader you might say, I just don't know if I'm qualified for that promotion. And then they say, well, yeah, you can do it. And then you say, but I don't want to. And then they say, well, all right, then. Don't do it, And then your mentor is like, no, I've been there. I know exactly where you are. It's just nerves, fear, push through it. That's how I got where I am. And then, they give you that little joke. So I would say invest in at least two different people with two different perspectives. That's important too.
So that means you have to, one, be vulnerable, honest enough with yourself to say, I need support and I need help.
Right.
It makes a really big person. It doesn't mean that we're weak because we need help. It means that we're actually a stronger person that's willing to push through and know that I can be stronger when I have more support, instead of just, oh no, I got this, I'll do it all by myself. Because I know we were taught to handle it.
Right.
We're taught to just do what you need to do and, forget everything else. Forget your fear, forget that. Just handle it all yourself. You got it. You can. And that's really not the best thing for you to do, is to try to do it alone.
That's true. And the thing is, the higher you go and the more you elevate, the scarier it is. The more you get into rooms and situations that you're not comfortable with, the more you need support to push you through it, because we'll easily, I always say, we will let ourselves down. But when somebody else is on the other end of that, it could be whatever, your parents, your children, your spouse, your mentor, your best friend. When there's another person attached to it outside of yourself, you'll do it. You'll push a little bit harder. So even if you can do it by yourself, just having that extra layer is just so helpful. So helpful.
Nice.
That's coming from somebody who, I was everybody's coach, everybody's mentor, everybody's go-to person. And it was a long time before I realized I needed that too. I needed that even more because I was being that for someone else. And, I don't know. I just started looking out, and people started coming to me saying, hey, I see what you're trying to do. Let me help you. And it's so much better when you don't have to do it by yourself. It is.
I agree. I've had moments where I'm like, everybody's pulling on me. I need somebody that I can call and I can say, hey.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you start looking like, okay, I need that support.
Right.
You need to pour into yourself too. I think that's one thing that we don't do as much as we should. We neglect ourselves, and so we don't pour into ourselves. And allowing those other people to be in those positions in our lives, for us to be vulnerable, allows for other people to pour into us.
That's true.
And I think it's very important to have.
That is true.
What advice will you give to someone who, wait, let me go back. So we were talking before, and we talked about how having people not only inside the company, but outside of the company to support you, and why.
Okay. Well, and we were talking about your sponsorship, and you wanted to know, should your sponsor, are they always in your organization? And I would say not necessarily. Suppose you want to grow outside of your organization or even within your organization, but the people in influence are too close. Sometimes that happens. They're too closely involved. And so they say, well, you know what, I better stay out of it, or I don't want to recommend or say this person's name and it don't work right, or whatever. You may have built a certain reputation. I hate to say that, but some people build certain reputations inside of their organization. And it is definitely time to get into a new realm. So your sponsor can actually be on the board of another organization. They can actually be in another organization. And that's quite okay. The key thing is they have influence in the rooms and the places you want to be in. So it doesn't matter where they are. And same with your mentor. Your mentor does not have to necessarily be within your organization. And sometimes that's best if they're not, because then they can give you a perspective from a place where you haven't been. And a lot of us spend a lot of time, 10, 15 years in the workplace, and the workplace has a way of shaping a culture and a belief system without us knowing it. And everybody kind of just falls in line without even paying attention. But somebody on the outside can say, wait a minute, why are you doing it this way? Or have you tried that? So fresh perspectives always help. But it doesn't matter in or outside of the organization. Just start somewhere. And sometimes it's easier in places, easier to identify those people if they are in your organization. And that's fine too.
Okay. Well, how would someone go about finding a mentor or a sponsor? Is it like, oh, I like what they're doing, let me go ask them to be my mentor?
Well, it is kind of that simple in a sense, but this is what I would say. So I wrote an article before called Mentor or Mentee, Why Decide? So I would suggest that you also mentor someone, even if it's not official, just so you can kind of get an idea for the relationship. But so for unofficial, like I have mentors that I've never met in person and may not, because the relationship should be two-sided. But if I see someone doing something that I want to do, I might just become a fly on the wall, just kind of look and see whether it's social media. Well, social media is so easy, especially LinkedIn. And I keep talking about LinkedIn, but that is the place for networking, for business, and career opportunities. And the gatekeepers are really gone. You can reach out to the CFO or the COO or the CEO of an organization and get a response. Maybe somebody's monitoring it for them, but you can at least get a response. So that's why I like LinkedIn so much. But even on your Instagrams and your Facebooks and other meetup groups, the boards in your city, take a look and identify that person. And I want you to watch them too, because sometimes things look a certain way when you're looking, especially on social media. But if you follow them enough, you can get enough data as to whether or not it's a good personality fit, whether or not do you really want to do what they're doing, or if there's somebody that you are really into, not just necessarily just on the surface. But then you have a choice. You can reach out to that person and you'll have history them saying, hey, I understand that you're XYZ, and that's something that I want to get into. And you can show them that you've done your research and that you've identified them, and say, hey, I especially like it when I saw you went to speak at South by Southwest. And, I'm starting to really take my career in IT, and I want to do more speaking opportunities. And so that person is going to be impressed that you're even following them. So it's not in a creepy kind of way, but it is a do your homework kind of way. And even if it's not something that is, we're going to meet every 2 weeks at 7:00 p.m., it doesn't have to be that. You can just say, if you feel comfortable right then, say, hey, do you mind if I reach out to you every now and again when I have questions? And that it could start just like that. And then there are some formal things where a person is holding you accountable to meeting with them a certain amount of time and, sharing information back and forwards. But just that's a good way to start. Just like, hey, can I reach out to you when I have questions? And I had a relationship to end up like that. And it was like that over the last 2 years. And now me and the gentleman, we stay in more contact a couple times a week, just planning and getting them on track. But the first time I said, I don't have time to really mentor anyone, but if you want to hop on the phone for an hour and ask me any questions you have, I'll be happy to. And you can also join my Facebook group and ask me questions there. So don't be afraid, because there are different arrangements. There's no cookie cutter. Another way that I would go about identifying a mentor is simply looking in a space where, maybe 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of me, and seeing exactly if that's what I want to do. For instance, for me in HR, I was still in insurance before I got into HR, and I found someone in HR and just kind of asked them, what are some of the things that I should be looking out for, some of the challenges? What do you like about it? Why did you choose it? Because here I'm trying to step into a new field, and you don't have to do those things blind. And that person took me to my first HR meeting and got me my first book I still have, called The Diversity Advantage. And she was very open and transparent with me about the industry, and we continue to connect after there. So, depending on what you need, identify what you need first, and then go about it. Be smart. Don't waste people's time, and so you need to have a plan, not just like, I like you and I like what you're doing. You're saying, hey, in 18 months, I plan to be, right now I'm a director. I want to be a VP in the next 18 to 24 months. I see that you're already, in the VP status. Can you just give me some things to go on? Can you meet with me every week? Know what you want and be considerate of their time. So I know that was pretty long, but in a nutshell, be prepared and know what you want, and understand, go to the people who have what you want and really address them in a professional manner, and be flexible to the arrangement. We talked about knowing what you can do too, and you may not feel like you can add anything, but say on LinkedIn, there I go with that word again. On LinkedIn, you can say, I'm willing to give you a recommendation. Like, we all want recommendations on LinkedIn, because it shows other people that we know what we're talking about in our industry, and it leads to other opportunities. Something. You can always offer something for that.
That's true. And the ability for them to mentor someone who wants to do something. But I
Exactly.
liked how you pointed out how you were in one industry and you wanted to transition into another industry. And that's a good way to get a feel of, do I really want to do that? It's piqued my curiosity, but I kind of don't know. Maybe I want to see behind the scenes before I go shift and like, oh, that's jacked up. I really don't want to be
Exactly.
here. So that is a very, very good point about getting to know the ropes, or, what it's really like. Because,
Mhm.
the grass is not always greener. Sometimes it's astroturf. And
Right.
you want to make sure you know what it is. I think that's a very, very good point. And like you say, keep the commitment and honor their time.
Right.
Very important. Now, there are paid mentors, but there are also free mentors. So keep that in mind as well. It is what it is. And it's a valid question, whether there's a set pay rate or whether they just, if you feel something, whatever their agreement is, just make sure it's written out, like explained. What you expect, they know what they expect, so there is no miscommunication, because that can ruin a whole relationship.
Exactly. So that's awesome.
What advice will you give to someone that is shy or nervous about meeting new people?
Well, I think the more prepared you are. So some of the little tips that we've given, like, understanding when you're going to meet them, what you want and what you can give. I think just understanding that everybody feels awkward when you're networking and meeting, so that you're not alone. That helps. And then we did talk at one point in time, it's just finding a way, if you're an introverted person and you're ready to go into this room full of people, or even 12 people, and talk, find a way that you can decompress afterwards. But it has to be done. Just understand that the way that I put it in my head, and I'll just say it just like I put it in my head, is if your friends and family could have helped you by now, they would have. And so a lot of times your next opportunities and all of those are attached to people that you don't know. They just are. They just attached to people you don't know. There's nothing bad about your friends and family, but they can only take you so far. And then they may even have the same perspective you have and the same experiences you have. So there's no growth there. And we want you to grow. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're talking to you, and we're being your mentors through video.
Right.
So we want the best for you, and just know that, your friends and family do too, but it's a different kind. And they'll let you slack when you need to. They'll be like, it's okay, baby. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's okay. Just watch TV. See what else is on. And so just know that. Just understand, I need to go out and get what I want. I need to be responsible for my own career success and my progress. And it's just on the other end of somebody. I need to just meet that right person. And, afterwards, take a bubble bath, go to the spa, do what you need to do, but just go in. And honestly, I had a group. So I talked about mentoring and finding them in groups. I had a group and I did a poll, and this was a very active group. And I asked people if they were introvert or extrovert. I was floored by the number of introverts, because normally they wouldn't even join a group like that. And these was very vocal. And I was so surprised. But the one thing that they all had in common is that they wanted to accelerate their careers. And so sometimes you just tuck the personality and those things aside to go after what you want. It's the same as if you want a nice handbag. You're like, oh boy, I better budget for it. That thing is going to look nice when I get it. Okay, wait a minute. I need to put this back. I need to save. They don't even have layaway hardly no more, but do what you have to do to get what you want. Personality aside.
That is true. I remember before I knew or I now know as an empath, I used to be like, okay, I'm going here and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that I connect with 5 people, make sure we have good conversation, make sure I don't sit in a corner, make sure I don't stay with one person. And now it's where I flipped it, and it's make sure that one person doesn't hog my time, because you'll have people that will try to corner you. Yes. And you have to know, okay, this is not what I'm here for. If you feel that there's a connection, we can connect later, but you need to be able to excuse yourself. If you feel like, okay, I'm so introverted, well, put your superhero on, your heroine on, and be like, okay, I have to be this part of myself for now. So in order for me to be that person, I need to be prepared before I go, not just with what to say, but like, have I rested well? Have I eaten well? Was I not stressed out before I went? Because for me, I wear everything on my face, and that's who I am, and I'm fine with that. But I need to make sure I go with the right spirit and attitude. So if I just had a fight, if I can't clear that out, it's not the best time to go. So you have to make sure you're well prepared, before, like, okay, we'll have to have this discussion later. Whatever you need to do, just clear some time before you even go so that you can be okay to serve and to meet people like you want to, so that you can show up being the person you want to be.
That's true. I didn't think about the before time is just as important as what you do during and afterwards, for sure.
It is. Because if you're like, oh my God, I ate 5 pounds of cheesecake, I feel like I'm a blob, I feel sloppy, so now I don't feel pretty, I don't feel sexy, I don't feel cheery, I'm just bloated and I'm miserable. Well, then you're not going to go and be the best you.
That's true.
So being an empath, I have to make sure after a room full of people and feeling everything that they feel, afterwards, I have to be like, I need some alone time. Let me decompress. Let me go take a walk outside. Let me go take a shower, eat well, rest well, make sure you're hydrated. Whatever you need to do, just pay attention to you so that you can get back, because it's very draining. And you need to know that about you.
That's true.
Awesome. Well, is there a gift that you would like to give these ladies for hanging out with us today?
Yes. So I will give a free digital copy of my book. It's called The Best Job Interview Advice Book. However, there is a section on there, not a full section, but some information on networking. And the gentleman who actually put the insert in there was talking about how people feel sleazy with networking. And I know it does sound like, I don't want to get out there and do that. So I wanted you to have that, and then as well as a free week trial to my actual membership site or video library, and it has some information there on networking as well.
Oh, awesome. That's nice. Cool. So I will provide that link under your video.
Okay.
Do you have any last words you would like to say, or are you good?
Okay, just last words. Just get out there and do it and report back. You will be surprised at how many people are willing to help and that are looking for people to network with as well. You are not alone.
To that point, I did have someone who was a regional VP, and I was talking to him, and I said, do you mentor people? And he said one person, but he found that people normally didn't ask. So if it's not the company saying, I need you to mentor this person, or the organization saying, oh, this is the person you're going to mentor, sometimes they are waiting for someone to ask them.
People like to feel needed, and they will actually be flattered, that you selected them to mentor you and that you see something in them. That's pretty flattering, even if they only have a certain amount of time to give to you one time, or say just ask me questions periodically. They will be flattered that you ask. Really.
It's like hanging around thinking that they're going to ask you, but they're like, well, they never asked me, so they must not need it. And like, right. Oh, I never know you needed one. And I'm like, oh, okay. Asking gets you great opportunities.
That is so just ask. That is the thing.
Have not because you asked not. So let's be asking and building our network with other people so that we can make sure that if somebody hears something, they can think of you for that opportunity.
That's true.
Awesome.
So, with that, you have to tell people that you're looking to, because a lot of times you ever look for something, and when you finally ask, somebody say, oh, yeah, I can help you. And you're like, why you didn't say something? It's like, because you didn't ask me. Well, I didn't know. So don't be afraid to say, listen, I'm looking for a mentor to help me with X, Y, Z. And you'll be surprised who raised their hand or who has the resources to connect you. That's a good point.
That is true. Awesome. Well, thank you, Ms. Devay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. I know you are very busy.
That's all right. Thank you for having me.
All righty. Well, until next time, stay true to the real you. I'm Kourtney Coleman, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.